What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube?
Sixers are in trouble. I need a top five.
Man, let's get into best of the week, man. What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports and Sports Betting Podcast, brought to you by the BetUS Sports app and Simply 8 Vitamin Gummies, man. As you can see, the whole crew's here, and we're joined by a very special guest, man. It's a blessing. Mr. Levon Kirkland is joining us. Levon, brother, what's going on?
Hey, man, I'm having a blessed day. I'm in a beautiful state. How you guys doing?
Doing well,
good, man.
Welcome.
Yeah, man, I'm liking Big Z and his jersey selection with the number 99. But let's see what's on the back though. Kirkland, okay.
Let him know, Big Z.
Yeah. But, because at one point in time I had that number sold up for a while, and then Kelsey came along.
Yeah.
And I remember a poll they had who wore it the best. And me and him were pretty neck to neck as far as 99 is concerned. So I am very happy that you have 99 with a Kirkland on the back.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right.
Nah, that's what's up, man. Like I said, so welcome to the show, man. But talking on that topic, man. So where did you get like the 99 from? Like, was that something you always wore as a kid or growing up, or was it something that you just kind of just picked?
Honestly, when I came to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was number 44 in high school and 44 in college. Okay. So when I went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that first, preseason, off season, I had number 45. So as the preseason was ending, the day after or that Monday, they basically told me that I need to come in and pick a number. And at that time, linebackers could only wear 50 through 59. 90 through 99. So I went in there and they had 58 laid out, 59, 56, 99. So 58, that's Jack Lammert's number. There was no way in hell I was going to wear that.
You ain't going to fight Jack over it?
No. That would have been a lot to try to live up to. So 59, that's Jack Ham, Hall of Famer. I'm like, no way. I'm not wearing that number. Then it came down to 56.99. 56 was a number that a lot of guys was wearing. I mean, Lawrence Taylor, one of my role models as a football player, and some other guys, but I kept looking at 99. And since I was going to be playing inside linebacker, I wore 44 in college and high school, and I'm like, you know what? I think that number's going to rock. I like that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, and I thought it was rebellious. I thought it was kind of bad boyish.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, let me pick number 99. And it's so funny. The first day I came out to practice, man, guys were like, 99? And I basically like, it's going to grow on you. Don't worry. It's growing.
It's gonna make
and then the rest of our defense started getting 90 numbers.
Well, there you go.
We were dubbed as a team, the defense of the 90s.
Yeah.
So it kind of Greg Lloyd had 95 first. Then Kevin Green came with 91. I wore 99, and then Chad Brown was number 94. And after that, it seemed like our whole defense was basically our front seven was wearing all 90s.
So you started that trend.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty hype. It was pretty cool.
That's what's up.
I'm glad you picked the 99. I agree with that selection. I can just picture looking at our jerseys and I'm like, yeah, that 99, that's it. That's it.
It's like going to the library sometimes and you're thinking about a book, and the book a lot of times I think it picks you.
Yeah.
And I really think that number picked me more so than I picked the number. It's kind of I guess you would call it a spiritual thing. But yeah, I looked at it. It was like, yeah, man, nobody wears 99, man. Pick me. Make yourself special. So I wore 99, and it was really good for me. I mean, it was I think people kind of recognize it, and I was a big guy and it really kind of fit,
Yeah. And you wore it well, man. So Z, I know you chomping at the bit, man. So
let's get started from how you started growing up, and did you play any other sports? What was it? What led you to football, and what led you to the linebacker position? Were you always a big kid?
You'd be amazed. My older brothers, they all played. They were pretty good. I went to a different school than they did, so we had a better program. But I played all sports. I played basketball. I ran track. Played football. You had to because we only had but so many guys on the team, so you pretty much had to do it all, which was really good because I think it made me a better athlete in football.
Okay.
And I didn't really start until the 9th grade. My father wouldn't let me play until I got to the 9th grade. And I remember playing in the 9th grade, but I didn't get my grades as well as I did all the other years. This is the first time I didn't have great grades. And my father was like, "You're not playing football until you get your grades right." Even some of the coaches came to the house and was like, "Well, Mr. Kirkland, let him play. We'll make sure." He was like, "Nope, he's not going to play any sports. He'll never play sports if he don't get his grades." I was a little upset at the time, but I realized it was my responsibility. It was a lesson that I had to learn. I had to go to summer school, and there was this lady named Miss Boston that went to our church. And man, those first couple of weeks, man, it was hell. But she really encouraged me to be a better student. I end up, getting the grades I need. End up not having problems academically again. And but another hurdle was I was playing varsity. It was my 10th grade year, and my coach, I had to ask my father like every day to go to practice, even when I was like a guy on the team. He was just that strict, man. So I didn't ask him like 1 or 2 days that week, and we were playing a jamboree. My coach calls me in and says, like, "I'm not gonna let you play." I was like, "Well," I try to explain it to him. When you have a bunch of excuses, you try to explain, and he was like, "Well," he basically said, "That's not your father's responsibility. It's your responsibility to ask." And I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy's dragging me down." But before I left, he was like, "You know what? If you commit to this game, you can play to the next level." And I think he was just thinking high school. I mean, like college or whatever like that. He wasn't talking about NFL. But when I was 11 years old, I manifested to myself that I was going to play in the NFL. Never told anybody that. And so when he told me that, it was like a confirmation that, wow, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm going to go to the next level. And so from that day, man, I was committed to the game. I was. No matter what, I was committed to the game. Never missed a practice. Actually, never missed another game as far as from high school, college, and professional level. I never missed another game. And I didn't get recruited that highly, but you got to think about it. Back then, no internet service, no rivals or anything like that. I mean, it was basically, you had to be outstanding. And normally, go to Clemson or South Carolina, it's usually from a bigger school. But how I got discovered, and I got discovered. I wasn't getting recruited. I got discovered. South Carolina came to our game, and we were playing a team called Chapin. And Chapin had a couple guys that were getting recruited. And my coach just came up to me my junior year, we in the playoffs, and he said, "There's some recruiters out there." He didn't say anything else. And we just had a connection. I'm like, "Cool, thank you." And I just went out there and I just had a great ball game. And the next week I got a letter from South Carolina. And then the next week I got a letter from Clemson. But Clemson was a team that really recruited me pretty hard. They felt like I was a little undersized weight wise. I was 6'1", about 190.
Wow.
They were just like, but they recruited me pretty well. They felt like I was a good athlete. And their philosophy back then was we're gonna get guys who can move, that guys who got that kind of it factor. And they didn't mind if you were a little undersized because they this is what they felt. They felt like you're going to develop, you're going to get better, you're going to lift weights. I was from a small school, so we weren't really lifting a lot of weights, but they thought like guys like myself, the ceiling was very high. And I went to Clemson, got redshirted for my first year, and then my second year ended up getting some playing time, and then like the last 4 or 5 games ended up being a starter. Ended up being
as a freshman,
as a freshman, as a redshirt freshman.
as a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, I ended up being a starter. I think I was freshman All-American. Just really had a great redshirt freshman year. I ended up getting like 6 sacks that year, about 60 or 70 tackles. An interception in the ACC championship, which really wasn't like it was now, but got an interception. I think in that game I had like 11 tackles, an interception, a sack. So I could always play, I really could, and it was just a matter of growth and being coachable. I was all those things. I worked hard. I was coachable. I was willing to get better. And then the next year, I went to Gene Chizik, who's the defensive coordinator with the North Carolina Tar Heels. I said, "Hey, Gene, man, I want to be great." And he was a young GA. He wasn't a coach or anything, but I thought I could relate to him pretty well. And I was like, "Man, help me." And he really broke down the game for me. And I ended up, really understanding our scheme and where I belong, where other people belong, and had that's the first year I got all ACC. And so just kind of grew from there.
Ooh, I would have started you too.
Yeah, I was, just a really good athlete, and at the school I was, we were simple in our scheme wise. I just had to learn. It's just when you're coming from high school to college, you got to learn. You go from college to pro, you have to learn. And I was willing to do that. I was willing to do whatever to be the best I possibly can be.
So I guess once you got to college, like towards the end of your college career, like how was the process, like the draft process? It's not like it was, back then as it is now. Like what were some of the differences, and how was your draft process?
Well, the combine sucked.
How so?
Well, all this time you can't wait to get invited to the combine, right?
Yeah.
And you get invited to the combine, and the next thing you know, man, they're pulling on you, they're poking on you, and then that whole take off the shirt and prance around, man, that's not cool.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't have to go down like that.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you guys saw the Kaepernick thing for Netflix. It was kind of right. It was kind of like a meat market. It was kind of, I'm not going to say slave trade, but it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much different.
Mm-hmm.
How they, how we had a parade around, no shirt on.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's really not called for, in my opinion. But as a kid, you don't really know any better. That's you went there trying to get a job, man, trying to impress these coaches, and you did almost anything to do it. And that was a part of it. I don't think it really needs to be a part of it anymore, but it was a part of it, and I did it because that's what you did. So I really didn't like the combine, to be honest with you. I didn't mind the working out, stuff like that, but the combine was a little much. But it was different back, also it's different in a way that you didn't have like one pro day, like how they do now, where you have that one pro day. Back then, teams would just call you and be like, "Can we try you out?" So from that moment after the draft until the draft, you could be trying out for like damn near all. I don't know how many teams they had back then, about 29 or so.
Yeah.
You could be trying out for all those teams. So it was a lot of wear and tear in the body. It was a tough process. And then, you did interviews with some of the teams. One of the teams I did it with Dallas, and then also Pittsburgh. So it was a little tougher, in my opinion. But man, it was a grind, but you're willing to go through the grind. I mean, like I said, from 11 years old, I manifested I was going to play pro ball, and I was just so close at that time that as a young 20-something-year-old, you do whatever, and that's what I did. I did whatever, but the draft day was cool though. When I got drafted, man, it was awesome because it was Pittsburgh coming up for the 38th pick. And, I went to the bathroom and I was like, look at the mirror. They're going to pick me. They're going to pick me. They're going to pick me. And then I'm telling you, man, I was so bold back then. I went to the kitchen table. I sat by the phone. Sure enough, the phone rung. I picked up the phone, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, please don't be somebody that just calling.
Right.
Sure enough, man, it was Tom Donahoe. And he was like, hey, Levon, Tom Donahoe with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're really considering picking you the next pick. And I'm like, wow, considering. Then another guy came on there named Charles Bailey. And Charles was a pro scout for them for a while.
Okay.
We ended up being pretty good friends. And he's like, this is how the conversation went. He was like, do y'all have televisions in Lamar, South Carolina?
What?
He was messing with me. It's like, yeah, man, we got television. He said, do y'all have cable TV in Lamar? So he knew how small Lamar was. I'm like, yeah, man. He said, do y'all have ESPN? I'm like, it comes with the basic package. I'm playing with my emotions like this. I was playing in my head. I was like, I told him, yeah. The rest of the stuff I said in my head. And he said, hey, man, look down on the ticker. You're going to see your name come up. Welcome to the Black and Gold.
Wow.
I was like, man, I was so pumped. And I hung up the phone, man. And my brothers and sisters went crazy. The other hand, my mother and father, they don't really know that much about. Well, my mother knew a little bit more than my father did. Man, they're just eating with with my in-laws' parents. So they don't really, they're not that dad. My dad is not the dad. Is like, that a boy. That's what I'm talking about. Do the Obama hug. He had no clue what was going down. My brothers and sisters jumped around, man. I was so hyped up, man. I had so much energy that we had finals back at Clemson, and I drove back. I don't know why I didn't stay that long. I just drove back. I drove back, man. I was just on such an incredible high, and I couldn't believe that a dream like that just came true.
Wow.
It was from being 11 years old all the way to about 22 years old, and to get that phone call and say, welcome to the Black and Gold. It was amazing. But the funny thing was, I hated the Pittsburgh Steelers as a kid. I was a Dallas fan. But my father one Christmas, he didn't really follow the game that much.
Okay.
But I guess he knew that I liked football a lot.
Yeah.
And, my brothers and sisters were teasing me about how I was going to hate my Christmas gift from my father. He ends up, guess what he gets me for Christmas? You wouldn't guess.
What's that?
It was Pittsburgh Steelers PJs. They had the helmet on the top, on the top of the PJ. I mean, a big Steeler helmet.
Look, manifested your future. Manifested.
I hated that thing. I hated it. But hey, man, I got to wear those PJs, right? I got to wear them. I'm like, does this man even pay attention to me? But it was like, when you have 8 kids, and you're the youngest boy, and you got, the other boys in front of you, you're not going to get that much attention like they do now. You just kind of like, he'll be okay. So I just thought my father didn't know who I was, man. I was really upset about getting those PJs. And then later on, I ended up playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I want, and the thing was, it was so funny. I met Coach Cowher and the staff, and I wanted to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's just one of those. It's just one of those. You manifest it, and it just really came true. And that was the best place for me. I really enjoyed my time with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I think you really you just fit in with the crowd. Just looking at your tape and your old highlights with the guys, man. It just seemed like the perfect fit, match made in heaven. What was it like playing for like Coach Cowher? Like, what is his personality type? Because we see him on like CBS and stuff now, like, and he's more modern probably. But like, what was like him? He like back then.
Coach Cowher was intense. No question about it. He was a former linebacker, special teams guy, and he wore his feelings on his shirt. But I'm gonna tell you, man, to me, I thought Coach Cowher was an amazing coach. He understood players. And I think that's because he played. So he had the perspective of what players go through, I think. He was hard-nosed, man. Like, dude, you had to practice well with BC. But he had a good balance. Like, he loved playing for him because, man, for real, if you made a good play, man, he's going to be on the middle of the field giving you a high five, hugging you.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be the first guy, and at that time, it was Chuck Noll, and it was military. It was, it was a grind. And having Coach Cowher was refreshing because I felt like he was a player's coach. He understood the player, and, he was competitive. And we kind of fed off him. We really did. He gave us and you got to understand that Pittsburgh wasn't that great in the 80s. They had that run in the 70s. And in the 80s, they were kind of up and down. And we really kind of started the winning. In that 92 season, that's when we started doing it. That's when we started winning. And they did a great job in the draft for like 4 or 5 years after I got drafted. Like, most of the guys who were drafted between first, second, and third end up being starters for us. So they did a really good job in the draft. So I like playing in Pittsburgh. And the cool thing about Pittsburgh is they love defense. Where you go somewhere else, it's kind of more offensive driven. People like offense, but they like defense. And it's kind of like when I was at Clemson, they enjoy defense. So it was fun. It was fun, especially playing linebacker. It was a responsibility. It was a legacy that you had to follow. I felt like I got to play because Jack Lambert played this position. I gotta show up. And then, but the cool thing was, back then you had a nice mixture of veterans and young guys. And on that defense, when I ended up starting in '93, we probably had half of the guys who were second-year guys or first-year guys, and then the other guys were like probably in their 6th or 7th year. And so it was a nice little mix. It really was. And we were doing something different with the Blitzburg defense, the fire zones, where we were bringing everybody, disguising, really getting at the quarterback. Because back then, the quarterback, they were under center.
No shotgun.
And they had no chance. When they were under center like that, they had no opportunity because we were on them so fast.
Yeah.
Until teams got smart and said, well, we can't play this blitz. We can't play under line. We can't play under the center. We're going to have to get in the shotgun. But it took them a long time to figure it out. It took them a long time to figure it out. But it was a lot of fun. And like I said, I played with guys like Kevin Green, may he rest in peace, Greg Lloyd, Chad Brown, Rod Woodson, Lake, Darren Perry. We just had a squad. Briston Buckner, Joel Steed, Ray Seals. Ray Seals never played. He never played college ball. It was crazy.
Hold on. But how did he? He didn't play.
Well, he said with Tampa, he played like semi-pro ball. I'm telling you, man, one of the best athletes you ever saw that never played college ball.
Wow.
Never
That's
played
crazy.
collegiate ball. He still got eligibility, probably. No, not now. He doesn't have it now. But back then, I mean, for a while, he had it.
That's funny, man.
But yeah,
That's
man,
cool,
I had a good time, man. It was, the cool thing was you had guys that you can look at and they can help you become professionals. You're just looking at their work ethic. And I mean, myself, I was a guy that wanted to give back, and it was cool. I was put in a leadership position, before I thought I was ready. The funny thing was, I just got a starting job. David Little was the guy for like 12 years.
Yeah.
And, I'm with these guys like Greg Lloyd, Rod Woodson, Kevin Green, and I'm the signal caller. And Coach Cowher was just like, I remember after I got to start the job, he came up to me. He's like, "You're gonna have to take over the huddle." Uh-oh. And I'm like, I wasn't a very vocal guy back then. And I was like, I looked at him like, what? He didn't say anything, just walked away. I mean, I thought about that thing for like a while, and I realized that he was right. I had to take command. I was like, man, can I do it? And I was just like, screw it. Just pretend you are.
Yep.
Just pretend that you're the guy that's leading the huddle, right? Yeah. And I didn't know how that was supposed to be, but one day we were in the huddle in practice, and they were kind of chattering, and that happens in the huddle. And I'm kind of a patient guy, but something like you got to go off on them.
Right.
You got to cuss them out.
Gotta let them know.
And I told them, shut the F up. I'm the only MF that talks at this MF huddle. And I gave them the look, and they just kind of looked at me like, what?
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning. You got to earn your respect back then. Right. You had to really earn your respect. They didn't, they don't care if Coach Cowher slotted you as a first string guy. You got to prove it to the players on the field. Right. So, dude, me and Chad, we had to ball out because we're the two inside middle linebackers.
Yeah.
I never played it in college. Chad never played in college.
Wow.
So we are learning on the fly, and we're being coached heavy. I mean, we're coached
all over.
And two stories I have here. I remember Marv Lewis. He was like, before I got the starting job, he kept in my ear the whole time. Kirk. And man, I don't know what came over me because this is not really like me. Yeah. But I told Marv, I never talked to a coach like this, but I told Marv, hey man, shut the hell up. I say whatever you want to talk about after this scrimmage, we can talk about it. But right now, you in my ear, that doesn't help me. Like, I'm not that guy. You can't be, come on, Kirk. Leave me alone, dude. Yeah, don't, even when I was in the bench press at Clemson and guys be like, let's go, let's shut the hell up.
Let's get this weight up, yo.
Yeah, I'm just going to get this weight up. It's, I never needed the pep talk, rah stuff because I loved it that much. I was always going to show up and play, at least to my best of my ability. Not saying I'm going to play great, but yeah, so another incident, which I told this story when I went back to the Clemson, the Steelers alumni, and everybody loved this story. So it's G. Lloyd. If you know G. Lloyd had a reputation. He was the baddest guy on the field, for real. He's a 3-time. He's like a 3rd-degree black belt, Taekwondo. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's ripped up. He's not a big dude, but he all 225, 230, it was all muscle. It was like, just imagine somebody drawing the perfect specimen. And That's G. Lloyd.
With the T-shirt, they didn't hire me for my disposition.
Yeah, he had, and then he had the attitude, and then he had the background story like a villain, like a comic book villain, like like
man,
he wasn't raised by his mother. I think he told me this story that his mother kind of dropped him off with his aunt, so his mother wasn't in his life, so he grew up with that anger and that rage, and then you teach him how to do Taekwondo. Then he went to HBCU. He was bald. He was ripped.
Oh.
He hated anybody that had like a good family life. I had a good family life. I had, my father was in my life. My mother. I mean, we had a good, close family. I don't know if he appreciated that much. And then David Little was his boy.
Oh man!
And they cut David in like the middle of camp to give me the job.
Oh man!
So he's giving me he's jawing at me, give me the call, blah blah blah. I mean, the whole time, even though I'm playing fine, he's giving me the business. But boy, I am a Kirkland, and my mother's name is Helen Kirkland, and we don't play that, dude. You ain't gonna just push us around,
yes, sir.
But so much. I got a lot of my father in me, which is kind of calm and peaceful. But boy, he was touching the nerve of Helen Kirkland, boy. He was. And I'm telling you, I was up to here with Greg Lloyd. Tired of Greg Lloyd. So, but I'm keeping my cool, whatever like that. But I'm like, I ain't no punk now. Don't, I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
Right.
And so we're in the middle of the game. I'm talking about the game is going on. Right?
Oh, man.
So I call the huddle, ready, break. I'm talking to Kevin Green because Kevin has asked me what the huddle call is after I just told you 5 seconds ago. Hey, Kirk, what's the call? Looking at Kevin like, telling him to call. G. Lloyd has the nerve to turn. I mean, Cincinnati is coming on the line of scrimmage. He looks back at me and he said, "Hey, Kirk, stop calling the huddle so effing loud."
Oh, shit.
You know how you look at people like when you done with them,
Yeah.
and you just look at them like, I know he didn't just say that to me.
Right.
So I'm behind Greg and I'm like, "Hey, G." He looks back. I said, "I call this effing huddle as loud as I want to." He turned back to me. He said, "F you, Kirk." I'm like, "F you." The Cincinnati Bengals are on the center. We having this conversation, right? It was like two angels popped on my shoulder. It was like, "You don't take that." Nah, man. Like the devil was like, "Nah, man. Don't let him talk to you like that."
Yeah.
And then the angel was like, "Yeah, man."
He with it too.
And then they just, and then after we had the confrontation, they left me. Poop. And I'm like, because I'm thinking G. Lloyd going to fight me. Because that's the repetition. He's kind of like that. So I'm like, well, I get to the locker room. We won the game. I went to the locker room. I took off my pads, everything, took a shower. I was gone. I don't think I had my shirt on. I was like, I'm not having this confrontation. I'm going to have to figure this all out.
Right.
But, man, that whole night, I'm thinking, like, what am I do? Because I'm going to have to face him, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, I'm from South Carolina, so we love wrestling. So I'm thinking to myself, what would Ric Flair do? You remember what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
I'm like, what would Ric Flair do? What would Flair do?
Yeah.
So I thought about it. I was like, okay, I'm all right. We're going, we have to confront him. But I'm thinking this dude is a black belt. So I'm thinking I'm not going to fight him fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something. If he try to fight me and confront me, he gonna get hit by a foreign object. I'm not gonna stand up there and try to. That's me. I'm not gonna fight you clean. So Sure enough, man, I get to the locker room, right? And we go in the weight room. Who's there just lifting weights? Gee, Lord. No shirt on.
Oh, Lord.
Chiseled. He don't have a 6-pack. He got like an 8-pack. I'm looking at him like, holy jeez. I mean, really, this God just liked this guy. Just said, you know what? I'm going to give you the most incredible body ever. You, Lex Luger, Lou Ferrigno, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going to give you the body, right? So, I mean, I know I'm rocked up too, but not quite as rocked up. I'm a big,
Right, yeah.
And so our lockers are like across from each other, right? But about 15 yards apiece. He comes up, he stands up, he has this towel on. but got a towel on. I'm like, geez Louise. I have my helmet behind me. And I'm thinking to myself, if he comes swinging, I'm gonna put that Steeler logo. I'm gonna tattoo it on his face.
Lord.
And then I'm gonna go home because I know I'm gonna get cut, or they're gonna find me, or whatever. Even though I'm playing well, they probably was just like, "Hey, Kirk, come on back." But at that time, I'm thinking like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna hit this dude as hard as I can. I'm gonna break his face, and then I'm gonna leave. But man, he came up to me. He said, "That's what I'm talking about. You don't take nothing from nobody," and walked away.
That's respect.
And after that, I had his respect, and we're good friends, man.
Oh wow!
But that's what kind of NFL it was back then. You think that guys talking to their coaches is bad? Man, you talking about guys will have it out, man. They would. They'll fight, and then but the cool thing was they'll fight. 5 minutes later, they're cool.
Right.
But I didn't want to fight the guy. I thought I would have to, but I did earn my respect.
Right. And that's what a lot of the times, like you said, the old NFL, that's what it's all about. Is respect. I look at it now.
It really is, and it's respect from the players.
Yeah.
More so, forget the media and all that stuff, because the media, they pick and choose who they're gonna like. If it's a big market, New York, if they're playing good, oh my God, they're gonna get Dallas. Those teams in the NFC East, they're gonna get a lot of pub. The quarterbacks are getting a lot of pub. All that stuff. But your respect comes from not only your teammates, but the people you're playing against. They got to respect you. If they don't respect you, I'm telling you, the worst thing you can do is not have the respect of your fellow peers.
Right.
Because they're going to dog you out. They're going to dog you out. They're going to try to make sure you don't play.
Oh, man.
You got to get the respect from the players, especially your teammates. You do.
Yeah. That's a funny story. I'm gonna remember that. That's probably, hey guys, I think that might be the best story we ever had on the show.
I hear that all the time. Every time I tell that story, it's like, dude, that might be the best story I've ever heard.
Like literally, because it's just so funny. Because when you look at his back, like you say, he's a black belt, third-degree black belt.
Oh yeah,
and then he looks like an action figure. You know what I mean? So
right. And then he has this dark backstory.
Right.
It's like, you couldn't make a better criminal than, not criminal. I wouldn't say criminal. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say criminal. But villain.
Yeah.
He made the perfect villain. You have to go through stuff to be a hero or a villain, right?
Yeah.
This dude had the background story. then he was drafted in like the 7th round or something like that.
Yeah. So he already had a chance.
So he had a huge chip on his shoulder already.
Fort Valley State,
Georgia. His best friend's spot. And I'm like, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Right.
I get along with all my brothers and sisters. We have Sunday dinner.
Right.
I look like a baby face anyway.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So he's probably like, man, this punk, man, why he took my boy spot, And then I had glasses. I was kind of like the nice guy.
Yeah.
He's like, gonna make sure this guy, there's no way this guy can play. But he knew I could. I mean, I could play. He knew I could play. He saw me play,
Right.
and I got his respect because I wanted to be just as good as him and Kevin. Especially me and Chad really had to bond together and be like, dude, we gotta push each other. So me and Chad really kind of pushed each other to be the very best we could possibly be.
Beautiful.
But I'm glad y'all like that story. That's a good story.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's my favorite personal story we've had on the show, man. That was funny as shit. But like
you got to compare me with some other guys. If they got a better story than this one, then
Yeah, no, I'm saying listen to the show. We've had some guys
we had
on some cool stories, but like I said, nothing like that because it had a little of everything. It had,
I'm about to say it had everything.
It had love, it had respect. You know what I mean? So it had literally everything.
And plus, I just have a crazy imagination.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna embellish it a little bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit more.
Right.
Because G Lord be like, oh man, it didn't happen like that. But it kind of did happen like that.
Right.
It did. G was something. He's a great player. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, no question about it. But man, those were some intense moments. And it was so funny. The offense getting down there talking about green 53, and me and this dude is having this conversation.
Doing the play. What you about to run this motherfucking play?
Yeah, I'm telling you, after a while, any man worth his salt, whether you're patient or not, if a guy keeps riding you, you're gonna be like, nah, man, we're gonna have to, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Right.
And my mom was kind of like, I tell everybody, my mom, the reason why I'm a linebacker because I got a lot of my mom in me. Mm-hmm. And my mom was born back in the 1930s in rural South Carolina. And, back then, women had to, they had to get some guys off them probably. It's a rough life. She grew up poor, but she had this attitude about her that she was the woman, like you walk proud, you talk, you don't let nobody, if somebody bully you, you better beat them or you got another beating coming. So I grew up like that. So I wasn't used to being, bullied or talked to. So it wasn't going to last long, and it didn't. And it all worked out.
That's what's up, man. So that's like I said, that's the best story I've ever heard. I don't know what the guys.
Look good. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
But I know you got to get out of here, man.
We can go for a few more. We got about 10 or 15 minutes. We good.
Oh, there we go.
I wanted to ask about the defenses in the 94 season and then 95 season, which were two of the greatest defenses in the NFL
all
history.
time. Yeah.
That
what
defense.
Was that experience like?
It was amazing, man, because all 11 of us we were on especially the 94.
Yeah.
That 94 team, that defense, man, that probably was the best defense at the time. It's probably our best team. We were just all on the same page, man. And we all can make plays. We really did. Honestly, we really didn't have a lot of weaknesses on our team. And that linebacker crew we just really meshed well together. We kind of knew each other and we played to a certain standard. And, guys like Rod Woodson and Greg Lloyd were the guys who led us. And we played at a certain tempo. And that, it was funny. I think on defense, man, you got to have a guy that sets the tone for everybody else. And I think at the time, I set the huddle, but Greg Lloyd and Rod Woodson, those guys set the tone. And you had to play up to their standards. If you didn't play up to their standards, then they were not going to have you out there.
Would they let you know about it? Like, would they say, like, yo, you playing like trash?
Would they?
I knew that.
Now I'm saying now it's a different males back then.
Right.
All the guys on defense, they're alpha males in their way.
Yeah.
But you had to be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wasn't accountable, guys like G Lloyd and Rob be like, get him out of here.
Cutthroat.
Like, you cannot play, and like seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're perfect, but dude, they took they took so much pride in what they did, and you couldn't come out there messing it up. You just couldn't.
Right.
So that's why me and Chad was like, "Holy cow, we really gotta push our games up." Everybody did. So if you're on that defense, a part of that defense, you come out there, you better get that work done. And I can tell you, in practice, if you would come to our practice, you would think it's the most raggedy practice you've ever seen in your entire life. Because as the offense is doing their thing, man, defensive guys are everywhere. We're not even paying attention. Guys are kicking the ball, throwing the ball, talking, like just chilling. And then I'm gonna tell you what happened. It was kind of crazy. Then a guy named Chet would come up and say, "Hey, you guys got about," because we didn't pay attention. So they're just like, "Y'all got about 3 more plays." I swear, this is the honest truth. The defense, all the guys will get together. We'll stand up. We'll all get together. Defensive time, we'll run out there, man. Total professionals. Got it done. Got the work done. Then after we get off the field, 2 guys are over here. 3 guys are over here. Other guys across the field. We're not even paying attention to what the offense is doing. So, and then we didn't have like some, most teams you got to wear the full pads or whatever.
Yeah.
Our full pads, this is what we wore for full pads. We had the shoulder pads on, but we have on shorts and just a thigh board.
Oh, okay.
To us, that's full pads. Not the pants. We didn't put on the pants. We just put on the shorts and the thigh boards. Because you know why? We got it done.
Yeah.
Every single Sunday. You play Pittsburgh back in 94, 95, you better strap it up because, boy, we're coming after you.
Business.
It was serious business. And so guys like me who watch football, like, we're not trying to let you get forget a field goal. We're not trying to let you get past the 50. We're trying to destroy you. We're not trying to you can't get 100 yards on us. We took it so personally. We did. We took it way personally. I mean, and we had these goals. We weren't trying to let them score. Like things like how teams kind of like, it's okay. Like if we scored a touchdown,
right,
we're not letting you score another touchdown. We're going to get you. And our whole thing was we were like 3 and out. We're trying to get you out the first 3 plays. That's how we played.
But y'all took pride in
it. And I'm not saying, it's a wonderful, but that's what it was, though.
Yeah.
I'm being very authentic, and I'm sure you guys can tell.
Yeah.
We took we took pride in being the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And the thing was, we wasn't the Pittsburgh, we wasn't the Steel Curtain. We're a Blitzburgh. Yeah. We're going to blitz you. We're going to intimidate you. We're going to, we wasn't a dirty team or nothing like that, but dude, we are coming after you. And if you're a wide receiver and you run across the middle, you better put your head on swivel because you might get knocked out. And if you're a quarterback, and back then you could do this, if you're a quarterback and you throw that ball, it don't matter. Bam! You getting that hit. After about 2 seconds, you getting that hit.
Ain't no Brady rule?
No.
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm about to say, you know better.
I'm telling you right now, I have a lot of respect for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But he would have got the business.
Yes.
Hey, we would have hit him a little late to let him know.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're gonna be hitting you. You ain't gonna just stand up here and just massage the ball and throw it. And you try to slide if you want to, we're gonna be sliding right with you.
Right.
And that was just the mentality back then.
I love it.
And even the quarterbacks, they knew it. They were gonna get hit. I mean,
that is what it is.
They kind of thought, okay, that's just the game. That's just how it is.
I gotta ask you, man, while we on that topic, what do you think of the NFL? It's crazy, man. It's like you can't even touch the quarterback. Like I'm a Bucs fan. I watched the game when we played the Falcons. The dude Grady Jarrett, the Falcons dude, it was a 3rd and long play. He sacked him. He really didn't even do anything. He just kind of twirled the guy and got up. They threw a flag. there's been on numerous occasions where these refs are determining the outcomes of the game. You know what I mean? Based on these calls, and it's just getting. It's not like it's not football, man. It's like it's crazy to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand somewhat what the NFL is thinking because they want to protect
the concussion.
You know, let me put it this way. Okay, I'm gonna be real. Quote unquote, we're trying to protect guys from getting concussions. No, but I really feel that I don't know how much they care about the other players. Yeah. I know that a quarterback is significant, and especially you got somebody like a Tom Brady. You got to protect these guys from getting hurt, and so they've gone a little overboard with it. And what they've taken out of the game is the defensive part. They've taken out the physicality. Football is supposed to be collision. It's a collision sport.
Violent sport.
And you can't, and honestly, it's the way the sport's supposed to be played. Yeah. If you take the physicality out of the sport, you're really taking the essence out of the game. Yeah. You're handicapping the defense because on defense, it's all about energy. It's all about reacting to a stimulus and going through a guy. Hey, that's what it is, man. And we know it. We like, you can get paralyzed. You can blah, blah, this, lose limbs. Do you still want to sign up? And guess what most of us would say?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And even now, it's a concussion CTE. Guys know about it. And guess what? They still want to play.
Still balling. Yeah.
They still want to play because there's big money in it. Yeah. They can set their families. They're good for life.
Yeah,
especially now.
Wealth. Yeah, generational wealth.
They're like, I'll take one for the team. I just think that the game is being, I think it's the essence of the game is really being taken away because defenses really don't know what to do. You know, these guys are like, you know, I need to hold up, I'm gonna get fined.
I hate watching.
My attitude is this. I'll be like, whatever, fine me. I'm gonna play the way I'm supposed to play. If you're gonna fine me. You know. Yeah. But I'm gonna play ball. Yeah, take my check. They're making enough money.
Yeah.
What the ref gonna do is just throw flags all day long? You can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
So I say, hey, play ball, play physical. Hey, try not to hit the quarterback. Don't be stupid. I mean, don't do something like that. But everybody else got to pay.
Yeah.
Since the quarterback can't really pay, well, then everybody else got to.
You got to pay. Yeah.
You got to pay. And that's just I grew up with that kind of football. I know it's changed a lot, but I bet you a lot of guys, what's starting to happen now, you're going to start getting more leg injuries because guys are not going to go to the head. It's going to go to your knees.
I was just about to say
I guarantee you, any receiver don't want, or any running back don't want you trying to go for his legs or his whatever. And I think I think you're taking it, like I said before, I think honestly you're taking the essence away from the game. For me, it's not as fun to watch as it was.
It's not.
It's not, man. You remember Monday Night Football? Like, God, I can't wait for Monday Night Football.
Yeah, man.
Now you're like, okay.
Now we got Russell Wilson. Every prime game. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to watch, but I mean, it's still America's #1 game, and I get it. And what made it great, man, was the physicality of it, the chess match between offenses and defenses, coaches versus coaches, quarterbacks versus quarterbacks. I mean, that we're not going to give up an inch. Well, we're going to keep moving. Well, we're not giving it up. And that was the beauty of the game.
I want to ask about, so 94 season going to the AFC Championship. I remember I was there. It was cold, rainy, the San Diego game.
Me too. I was there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was really there.
Yeah.
But then the transition from that to the 95 season, I mean, from a fan's perspective, after that Super Bowl, the defensive performance in that game, that was the first time after a loss that I was so proud of my team. I remember
Right.
sitting there like, wow.
Well,
And what was that experience like?
It was a great experience. The 94 loss against San Diego was just a lesson that we had to learn. I felt like we did not respect San Diego the way we should have. And the funny thing was we came out and we balled, we played, but they beat us on two big passes, basically. Whole game we're beating them, but we're keeping it close.
Yeah.
And when you have a team that you should beat, and I tell anybody this, you got to put them away, and you got to let them know that they have absolutely no way they're going to beat you. And so you got to take them out, right?
Yeah.
You got to take them out early and often, and then you can stop. We let them hang in there, and we gave them. We were talking about doing this video. I mean, we were that good, man. We were on top of that game. And we were talking about, doing a video. I was like, I don't know how good an idea that is. But, the guys that probably should have stood up and said, we worried about the wrong things, they didn't say anything. And San Diego heard about, they think they're just going to run over us. You can't, in the NFL, you cannot give teams you can't give them that leverage. You can't give them, you cannot, first of all, it's a Super Bowl is on the line. So they're already motivated. You can't give them extra motivation. And we did that. And we had to fight and scrap. And even though we got down to the 3-yard line, I mean, we just didn't get it done. So I thought we learned a lot that year because we had to have that experience to go to the next year because we started off 3-4. AFC, the team that was sliding to go to the AFC Championship, go to the Super. Man, we started off 3-4. We don't know we're going to the playoffs. And I just remember probably one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen in my life was we got back. We had a bye after the 3-4 start. And Coach Kyra comes in there, and normally we have did we win? Did we lose? He took everything off the whiteboard. We had nothing. I'm like, wow, what's going on? He comes in there, man. He's like, gentlemen, I want you to forget about our record. We're not 3-4. We're 0-0. This is our new season right here. Our first game against Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's what I want you to focus in on. Forget about the 3-4. We won't even mention we're 3-4. So we play Jacksonville. We beat those guys. Instead of everybody else is saying 4-4, we're saying we're 1-0. We go to Chicago. Chicago has a really good team that year. They're like 5-2. We're kind of like we're still fighting for our lives. We played them at Soldier Field in overtime. We win that game. Now we 2-0. Okay. Guys started buying into it. Then Greg Lord and some other guys were like, listen, I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're black or white. We are hanging out as a team every Friday after practice.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't care what your wife said. We're gonna get to know each other. He was serious. Because guys will just go home, just do their thing, right?
Yeah.
He said, we're gonna get to know each other. We're gonna do some things together as a team away from the field. We start hanging out together. Next thing you know, we're 4-0. We all go to the club together. White guys, black guys, we're at the same club together. Friday night. We start playing paintball. Next thing you know, we run off. We can run off 8 games in a row.
Wow.
We end up losing the last game of the season to Green Bay. They had their division on the line. They had to win it. And we dropped a pass at the last second. Yancey Thigpen, who was a great receiver for us, catches the ball but bounces off his knee, and we lose to Green Bay. And that was the best coaching job I ever seen in my life. Because he made us realize that he changed our whole mindset. How many coaches you know that's smart enough to say, you know what? We're going to start this thing over. Forget about the 3 and 4. Forget about that first half of the season, basically. Our season starts now. And we started believing. And when we played the Colts, we didn't take them for granted at all. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and my God, was it a tough game. I mean, it came down to the last second. God throws a Hail Mary, my heart just stopped.
Mine as well.
I would have stopped too. I've been holding my breath.
I thought at first it looked like he caught the ball. I'm like, oh my God. And then the funny thing was, it was 4th and 3. Last year we lost. It was 4th and 3, but it's like 4th and goal or whatever like that. This game, it was 4th and 3. If we don't get this conversion, we're gonna lose again. He throws to Andre. Andre catches it, first down. Then I'm telling you, Neil O'Donnell throws the prettiest ball I ever seen to Ernie Mills. Ernie Mills makes an amazing catch. We get the ball down to the 1. When we up, that place is going crazy. Then they get the ball and they're kind of driving a little bit, but we kind of stop them. It's kind of midfield, 5 seconds left on the clock. You're talking about drama, man. I mean, you can't draw this up, dude. Hall ball, and I mean, they're like a Cinderella team. Like the Colts came out of nowhere. He goes back, he throws that thing as high and as deep as he possibly could. I mean, the guys are like crowded up. One of our guys get pushed. He's about to catch the ball. Randy Fuller. Thank God, Randy Fuller runs from the other side. And about the time he's about to catch the ball, Big Z know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, Randy, my heart stopped that whole 5 seconds.
I mean, he pushes it out. You're like, oh my God, he caught it. Referees were in perfect position. They saw the ball bounce on the turf, and they were like, no good. I was like, whoo. I mean, never so happy and never so tired in my life. Yeah. And I mean, because we came from a long way, and we came from heartbreak the year before, and then be able to do it again. We lost our best player, Rod Woodson, that year.
Was it week 2? I think, was it week 2?
Yeah, we lost him, Barry Sanders. Yeah. Like the early in the week.
Yeah. Torn ACL.
Deion Figures got shot.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Last year we were healthy. We were killers. This year we're like, okay, Carnell, you move the corner. Okay, Willie, you move. Myron, you come back. It was craziness, man. But we end up being a solid team, and I still think 94 was our better team. But I think because what we went through 94, we were mentally stronger in 95, and I think that's the reason why we went to the Super Bowl. And probably should have won that, but we didn't.
I mean, that performance by the defense, holding them to, 50-something yards rushing. They were the number 1 rushing team in the whole league.
Oh, man, dude. All we heard that whole week was, how you guys going to stop Emmitt Smith? We heard it for 2 weeks.
I think 56
and
yards.
You're giving him his respect and everything. Yeah. But after a while, I was like, man, damn Emmitt Smith. We're going to shut him down. I'm like, really? After a while, he's just like, okay. Like I told you before, I got a little bit of my mother in me. It's
that nerve.
It's a little percentage. It's like 5%, but when it comes out, it comes out. And
I gotta ask you, how good was that O line? Dallas's O line, because
they were real good.
Because I mean, that's what everybody. I mean, I obviously Emmitt Smith is great, but everybody, I think they don't get the credit that they get. I mean, I know they get credit, but I don't think everybody knows how incredible that offensive line was.
I mean, they did a whole show on them. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying because I know Emmitt Smith is great, but
they got a lot of respect.
Okay. I was just making sure of that.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, should kids hear more about them? Yes.
Shoot,
Yeah.
all I remember is
time,
56 yards rushing in the Super Bowl.
during that time, they got those dudes were like Larry Allen and Eric Williams.
Yeah.
Those were the real deals, my man. Him and Nate Newton, those guys are good, man. And we stuffed them out. You know, I know people say, well, Emmett said, well, my ankle was hurting. I was in the play. I was in the play. We stopped them, man. We really did. We did a good job. I'm telling you, that's when turnovers can hurt you. And it would have been. I'm gonna tell you, after we kind of got acclimated to what they were doing, we shut them down. Like they were not going to score anymore. We shut them down. The only way they scored is because they got close to the end zone. They ended up scoring. But from 20 to 20, we shut them down. They couldn't do anything. And we were moving the ball against them. But they were a quality team, man. They're the Super Bowl champs, man. But that probably wasn't the best Dallas team. But I thought we played well. I did.
Yeah, I mean that defensive performance, that game was.
Oh yeah, man. And that's probably, honestly, that was probably my breakout game. But I share this with players because when we were 3 and 4, I wasn't really playing that well. Mm-hmm. And then I got to the point where I was just like, because I wanted, and I'm be honest with you, I wanted more attention. I felt like, Kevin, Greg, and Chad, and I felt like the fourth guy. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize how much I brought to the team and my skill set and how much that meant to the team. And so after that 3 and 4, man, and after Coach Kyle was like, we're gonna wipe this clean, I told myself, I don't care my stat. I didn't care how many tackles, if I made any plays. My whole mentality was, I'm gonna help this team win as hard as I can. I just put my whatever individual stats. I didn't care anymore. I got to a point where I don't care. I'm just gonna ball out. I'm just gonna play to win. You know what's so funny, man? When that happens, I end up playing great. It's so crazy. I end up getting all kind of stats, making all kind of plays because I'm just trying to play to win.
Right.
Yeah. So fast forward, I go to Arizona and I'm coaching this guy named Marcus Golden.
Okay.
His first year, he got like 4 sacks. All this boy wanted to do was sack the quarterback. He was trying so hard to sack the quarterback and get his individual goals that he wasn't really, he wasn't making plays. So I pulled him to the side. I said, hey, Marcus, I said, do this favor for me. Because when you're dealing with a professional athlete, it's all about helping them go to the next level. That's all. If you can help them go to the next level, the NFL player will listen to every word you have to say. They're very good students that way. People kind of like, they're cocky, blah, blah, blah. Those are the best guys that you ever want to meet. They work hard. They have plenty of integrity. They're charitable. And they want to play the game the right way. And they want to be at the highest level. And Marcus was one of those guys. And I basically told Marcus, I said, do me a favor. I said, play to win. Like, I know you want to get sacks and all that stuff. And of course you do. I said, but play to help your team win. It's about the team. It's not really about you. I understand where you want to go. But I said, Marcus, I guarantee you, if you play to win and you forget about your stats, you're going to make more. I said, you're going to make more plays than you ever imagined. Kind of looked at me. He said, you think so, Coach Kirk? I said, Marcus, if you just put aside your individual stats and just play to win, you're going to make so many more plays. This guy went from 4 sacks to 12 sacks.
Oh, major jump.
Because you know what he did? And this is the thing I love about football. It's the ultimate team sport. When you start thinking about the bigger purpose, and you put yourself aside and say, I'm going to do the work, you'll be amazed at what you do. You'll be amazed. That's the best advice you can give any player. Play
And
the
that
game.
connect that applies for anything, even life.
Yeah.
Our
bigger
job,
picture,
every day.
man.
Yeah, just-
everyday life.
And, you know, hey, I'm going to put myself aside and I'm going to do the work. And I'm going to do the work. It's almost like in the Bible when they say, do it unto God and not unto man. That's what it is. Winning is about the whole, everybody benefiting. And if you can get guys to think in that manner, you're going to do some good things. But when guys start thinking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and it's about me, then you know what happens. When it's all about you, man, you take shortcuts.
We got a question for you, man.
Take things the easy way. Go ahead. What's the question?
So the question is, who was your biggest motivator?
Mentor.
Well,
Mentor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I had a lot, but I have to say my biggest was probably my father, because my father started off as a sharecropper. That's what him and my mom did. You know, that's living on somebody else's land. And nowadays, that's almost one step away from slavery, to be honest with you.
That's wow.
You work on somebody else's land, you're living in their shed or whatever. You're not getting paid because you know what happens. You don't really education at that time in that area was not really something that you pushed for. So can you imagine being a black man back in the 1940s and 1950s? I mean, I know that the United States said 1950 was the golden years, and I'm like, for who? Not for African Americans, it wasn't, especially from the South. So my father and mother came up, you know, they were sharecroppers. I'm not ashamed of saying that. But what they did, though, was just with their grit and determination, man, they built us a better life, man. They did. I mean, he ended up building his own barbershop by his own hands.
Wow.
He ends up, you know, he works Monday through Friday. Then Friday nights, he's cutting hair, and then he cut hair on Saturday, and then he was a minister on Sunday. So that man for a long time worked 7 days a week. Him and my mom, my mom doing, you know, she's working as a seamstress. 7 kids, dude.
Wow.
So, you know, and then I was blessed enough to go to the NFL, man. He started flipping houses before they started flipping houses, man, and started making big bucks. You know, and when his funeral happened, man, it was like over 500 people at his funeral.
Wow.
Because he garnered that kind of respect. My mother, we had to have her funeral in the gymnasium. My father had it at one gymnasium. My mother had it at another gymnasium. They were in that community for 70 something years, and they were really looked upon. So when I was able to get in the Ring of Honor at Clemson, they put my name on there, and they were just asking me, what was how's that feel? And I said, you know, my mom and dad are not here, but they got their name on a stadium that my father actually told me when I went to Clemson. He tells me the story that he never envisioned a son of his going to Clemson University. And I'm thinking, like, well, what makes you say that? You know, I've done all this stuff. And he said, son, back in my day, we couldn't go through the front door. And that made me just kind of, I mean, I knew that, but him actually saying that was like powerful to me.
Crazy.
It really was. And so I get on the stadium and everybody thinks it's about the Levon and not the Kirkland. I'm saying it's about the Kirkland, that last name. That's what I'm talking about. And reporters was like, huh? I was like, it was about Laverne and Helen Kirkland. That's what I'm the most proud of, my name being on the field. And that's my biggest mentor, man, because, dude, they, you know, back then, men, they would go drinking, Friday night. They go spend their whole paycheck drinking, running out on their wives, man. It was rough back then, man. And it was tempting, But my father, he had the spirit of the Lord in him, man. He's a good man. Just showed us how to be good dudes. So that's my biggest mentor.
Wow.
So there's your answer, man. We'll probably end on that note, Levon.
All right,
man. Like I said, it's man, it's just so many gems throughout this episode, man. But we gotta have you back on, man. I hope you're willing to come back on.
Oh man, of course I'm willing to come back.
It's like I said, yeah, Jay. Like you said, it's a lot of topics that we want to get to, and
it's deeper than the guy that play. You got to think of everybody. Right. We all have great stories.
Yeah.
It's just how do we tell that story?
I think your last name on the stadium forever. When everybody's long gone, your name is on that stadium.
Back in the day, they would have never welcomed me to that stadium. Think about it.
Yeah,
they would have never. Now everybody's like, oh, every Clemson fan is like, oh, Levon Kirkland. They know the name, and that's great. But I know that back in 1950, I wouldn't have been welcome. Now my name is on that stadium. It's a legacy, but I have a whole lot more legacy to go. But I know my mother and father, that Kirkland name is on there. They shared that with me. That's the biggest thing. Wow. That's the best honor you could possibly, you can give, because I love my name. I mean, Levon, I love that name. I really do. But I think everybody should love that name.
Right.
Everybody should have that kind of pride in it. That's your brand. That's your, that's your company. How are you going to take care of it?
Yeah.
How are you going to represent it? I don't like my name because it's whatever. But I do. I just like my name, Levon Kirkland. To me, it's a great name.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to represent the brand. That's it. People need to look at their names, man. I'm telling you, your name is powerful. Now, where you want to take it?
Yep. And then look, I could even show it to you.
Man, show that thing. I'm telling you, man.
Big Z with the Kirkland on.
Man. I'm gonna tell you, man. That I love seeing that name on the back of a jersey, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I don't know what other guys will tell you. I ain't trying to. I know people want to say be humble. Hey, man, I'm friendly, but I like my name. Yeah, I like to be in the back of the jersey.
Nah, man. But hey, when I told him you was coming on the show, man, like I literally, he was the happiest dude. He was the happiest dude. Like,
you know what? I haven't played in forever, man, and to be able to have people like Big Z that enjoy the way I played, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
I'm not gonna say I'm no superstar, but I think when I played, man, I played at a high level. I think people who respect the game respect me, and they still remember who I am. And that's a platform.
You were one of one. There's never been another person like you, someone your size, with your speed, with your effort. Even when they said they tried to say you couldn't cover receivers down the field, you ended up doing it. One of one.
That was always the funny thing. And I'll tell you one more story before I leave. When I was on the team, there's a guy named Mark Brunell. No, not Brunell. Mark Bruner that was on the team. And he would tell every tight end that would come in, him and the coach, Mike Mularkey, and they would tell every guy, I'm telling you, you can't beat number 99 deep. And so these tight ends coming in, they're looking at my size.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, please, I know I could take this guy. So every year, man, they try to beat me deep. I'm running right beside them the whole time. They can't find a way to beat me. And so one guy named, I think it was Corey, he played tight end, and he's like, Kirk, man, how do we beat you? And I was like, you know what? I'm glad you asked. Nobody ever asked me. I said, a guy like me, I said, I know my weaknesses, and I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you. And what I do is I'm going to make you do what I want you to do, not what you want to do, what I want you to do. So I'm going to make you go where I want you to go. I'm big. I know what you're thinking,
Yeah.
but I understand what you're trying to do, and I understand what I'm trying to do. And I'm only going to let you do what I want you to do. I said, so when you come, I said, next time you got to show me something different. You got to try to, play the game with me. Because if you don't, like, if you just do it the regular way, like some of these coaches telling you to do, I'll cover you all day. You won't catch a ball. And that's how it was. It wasn't, sometimes people look at, that's the thing when you stereotype people.
Yeah.
When you look at people a certain way, they think in their mind, oh, he can't possibly do this. But I never let my weight get in my way. And I was big. I was 280, 290, playing linebacker, running with folks. And people were like, how the hell? I knew once I got that helmet on and I was in that, I'm just like anybody else. I knew that. Maybe I know coaches didn't always like it. I know people like, but did I ever miss a game? Was I consistent throughout my career? Could I, if you asked me to cover somebody, could I do it? And plus, I had the most demanding job in the world.
Yeah.
Linebacker,
Middle linebacker.
especially inside linebacker, you got to rush the passer, you got to stop the run, and then you got to carry a tight end about 20 or 30 yards. Then come back. That could be first down. Then come back and play against some guard and some fullback. So I don't have to say what I did. I mean, it's evident.
Yeah.
It is. But I think in everything, you got to understand the rules. You got to understand what the best thing you can do is, like, the best thing I've ever done was take a personality test or a strength finder test, and it showed me like my strengths and my weaknesses. Now I understand my strengths and I understand my weaknesses, and I'm going to play more to my strength. I'm gonna make you play my game.
Mm.
You're gonna play my tempo. That's how I used to cover guys. Does it make you do it? I just made you do what I want you to do.
Right.
That's it. And that's the secret of how I can cover guys.
Well, there you have it, everybody. So, Levon, brother, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on. We're gonna have you on again, man. Like
Oh man, it'd be my pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
No
Appreciate
doubt,
you.
man. Like I said, we'll definitely have you on, man. Blessings to you and your family, man. I guess we'll get up out of here, man. Anybody want to shout out before we hop it on?
Well, I'm with the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. I just want to give them a shout out. In the state of South Carolina, we are 43rd in the nation as far as college and career readiness. I don't accept that. I feel like it should be better. And so we're trying to educate, empower, and encourage our students to do better. Not just the 5-star guy, but we're trying to put that knowledge into everybody and help them understand what they can and what they cannot do and the possibilities. And I mean, that's what we all should be here to do that. We should all, our passion should be to educate, empower, and encourage. And, I think that we all have skin in the game. We know that there are people out there that, their needs are not being met. And let me tell you something. When your needs are not being met, people will find a way to meet their needs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it may be a gun to your temple to take your stuff because they don't have it. It shouldn't be like this in our country, in our state. People should not be needing or desperate enough to take your stuff. But if we continue to go on the way we're going, that's what it's going to be.
Yep.
And you think that you're safe because you're in a good neighborhood or something like that? You're not. You're not. Because your kids or your relative kids or whoever, they're going to have to go venturing out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because we're not meeting the needs of our best resources, our best asset. They go out in the world, man, and you know what? They're gonna meet their needs some kind of way. If I'm hungry and I haven't eaten, you better believe I'm gonna find a way to eat. And it might be over your head, it might be over your body. And that's a reality of it. If you want to look at it, that's a reality of it. So what we're trying to do through the great game of football is to teach people, to help them succeed. Everybody want to be successful. Nobody in this world that don't want to be successful. We got to make sure we do that. And it can't just be our own family, you know. You guys all got experiences and knowledge. Man, you got to give that to other people, man, because other people don't have it. And so if we think that we're just going to protect our family and my family is safe and blah, 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 it's not how it works, man. We got to give back to kids that may not have that, you know? So that's one of the reasons why I'm with the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. I feel like it's my passion and duty to give back to kids in South Carolina, and we're going to spread this thing throughout the whole country. But we're going to start home first for us. And then hopefully we can take this, well, not hopefully, we're going to take this thing to another level. So that's a shout out I want to give. Sorry it was long-winded.
No, that's all good. It's just for good. Well, I'm not even worried about that, man. You could have talked for about a whole nother hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't care.
Dude,
you know what I mean? That's powerful.
I can talk, so I don't know.
You know.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And like I said before, man, it's good to see brothers like you guys doing what you're doing, man. We need to continue to talk and get ideas from each other and make this a better place.
For sure, man. And that's what we plan to do, man. Like I said, thank you for the respect, of the show, and like I said, for coming on. And like I said, we'll definitely have you on. Very powerful message, words, and just leadership, man.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, fellas. Well, we'll get out of here, man. Make sure you guys follow Levon on Instagram or social media pages or whatever that is. And we'll get out of here.
One of the best. Thank you for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Every time. You never get shown.
Hey, Levon might have to I might have to get myself a terrible towel now, man.
It's a good investment.
Oh, yeah. Especially after this week, knocking tempo.
Yeah, that was a big win. That was a big win for the Steelers. No question about it. Yeah. All right, guys. Let me roll.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
All
right, y'all be good.
All right, man. Man, well, guys, I'm gonna wrap up real quick, but I mean that was incredible, wasn't it? I mean,
best show, best experience that I've story.
Life lessons, giving back, helping people, making a difference.
Yeah,
forever. Something all
just wise words of wisdom, man. I mean, that just goes to show you, like you said, you can't sit there. Oh, my family's good. This and this and that. No, you got to give back, man. If you got the time and the freedom and stuff like that, and your big ass is sitting on the fucking couch, go out there and coach these damn kids, man. No, I'm just saying these motherfuckers is big now. These motherfuckers is big, fat, lazy. Yo, you're an able-bodied person. There's somebody in a wheelchair wishing they could go outside and coach kids and make a difference, man. Because a lot of people don't have it, man. Especially now, with people being in the position they are and stuff like that. So. Yeah, like I said, that just kind of just goes to show you the man that he is, man. That's why I wanted to have him on the show and stuff like that, because you might go know these guys from the helmet, the shoulder pads, and the tenacity on the field. But at the end of the day, these guys are real. These guys are real alpha males. Each and every guy we have, and we have women on too, but each and every guy we have on, we're gonna have true alpha male types. Man. We're not having people that are just fake and phony. You know what I mean? I'm not about that. We're not about that in general, man. But that was a very powerful message of what he just brought up. And Z, I know you probably want to have the end, man, because like I said, I'm gonna let you get the spotlight, man, with them Steelers, bro. So.
Oh yeah, no, that was powerful. So one of the greatest ever to play the game, and he was a leader of that team.
Of grown alpha male men. Like I said, not of new age feminine ass dress wearing.
Look, think about that defense: Kevin Green, Greg Lloyd, Rod Woodson, Cardell Lake. I mean, that defense.
These motherfuckers is not. What's the little joke where they hit the little ooze? What the little fucking Trinity dances, stinky legs and shit?
Oh,
I'm just talking.
Think about that.
Shit.
But
You know
that's
what I
the greatest memory I have is Greg Lloyd walking around training camp with a cut-off T-shirt, and all it says is, "They didn't hire me for my disposition," and he's just walking around angry. But I mean, everybody said that. But my personal story with Greg Lloyd, he used to go to the same barbershop I went to, and the TV broke, and he fixed the TV. He put everything together, and so. As a kid, that's how I remember Greg Lloyd. Everybody was sitting there. TV was broke. We couldn't get a picture. He walked around. He did something, hooked up one wire, fixed the thing, hooked up the other thing, and bam, it was working. I was like, wow, he fixed the TV.
Man, so football player, power dude, and a TV technician.
And like he was saying, everybody in the barbershop is looking at him as Mr. Angry, Mr. Sit in the corner, and like, wow, he's here to get a haircut just like us. He's bald, just get it clean. But then when he got up and fixed the TV, when we were all complaining the TV didn't work, I'm like, that just shows the human side of everybody too.
Yeah, man. But I love it, man. Like I said, there's some guys you meet and they come on and they start speaking. You're like, yo, this dude is a real dude. Like Levon's a real dude, man. And that just goes to show dudes. I think a lot of guys now, they get a lot of clout for being like masculine or just being over. Like, yo, it's okay. Like, you don't have to be a bitch. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a bitch. You can stand up for yourself.
Holding other men accountable.
Hold other men accountable. Like you, at the end of the day, you represent yourself and your last name. I'm speaking out of, this is, away from sports, what we do. But like I said, you got to represent yourself. You represent yourself and your last name. So it's, at the end of the day, you're going to stand for something, man. So
or fall for anything.
Yeah.
As the saying goes. Yeah.
There you go, man. So I guess we'll get up out of here, man. We're not going to be doing the sports bets and stuff like that this week. We had the guest on the show, but we'll get with you guys next week, man. So all right. Anything else, guys, before we get up out of here?
Nope, nothing from me.
Oh, man. Let's go. Go Steelers.
Oh, man. Here we go. Bucks fans, we'll be all right. We'll be all right, man. Tell them big motherfuckers to block for Tom, okay? Tom's not the problem. Tell them big fat sausage eating motherfuckers to block for Tom Brady, man. I'm sick of this shit, goddamn. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this shit. Block for Tom Brady, man. But we'll get out of here and see you guys next show, man. Peace.
Peace.